my talk is going to be a little bit wide-ranging. As I said, I'm a little bit easily distracted. When I heard the topic of the talk, I was quite heartened because I thought, wow, you know, going to be speaking at TEDx, and I thought, wow, the future of enterprise. I'm uniquely qualified on the future of enterprise, that's me, because I'm a massive Star Trek fan. And, you know, I thought it'd be really easy. But being a little bit ADD and a little bit dyslexic and a high school dropout, one of our previous presenters made me feel very old. I went to the dictionary, I looked up enterprise, and I started to get a little bit disheartened because I thought, oh, it's about a project that requires boldness or energy. Or it's a company, an organized business firm. And I don't know about you, but I find companies quite boring, having run a few. And then I thought, well, maybe it's just something an entrepreneur starts. And I thought, aha, back to Star Trek. We can go to the great split infinitive, to boldly go where no one's gone before. And that's what I thought maybe the future of enterprise is, to go where we haven't gone before. And then I started to think, well, what drives today's enterprise? And I came across this word a lot. Because I found, like, I'm a believer in something different to this, but I found that a lot of our business and a lot of our enterprise is driven by this word. Why? Because when I looked it up, $2 trillion of revenue out of the $3 trillion that the Fortune 10 make comes from this stuff. And it's really scarce. And 200 billion is from Toyota, which sort of comes from this stuff as well. And I found that a little disheartening. I thought, well, maybe, you know, if the future is boldness, maybe we have to transcend scarcity, because otherwise it's going to just be really depressing. And when I had a look at oil prices over time, I noticed that oil prices do these amazing things. They go up and down and up and down, and we feel more or less scarce about oil depending on this chart. And it led me to think, well, maybe I should be paraphrasing Douglas Adams here. Maybe it should be that money is an illusion and derivatives and debt doubly so. Because the things that drive scarcity, oil prices, things like that, are probably illusory. They're probably the things that we shouldn't be paying attention to. And I note that all of the world's stock indexes and everything went into recession, but this is actually an illusion. It's not real. It feels real, but it's not. And by the way, being not real, it's fairly easy to prove. This is Craigslist's revenues of the same time as the recession. I thought, wow, what is it about Craigslist? What is it that allows it to do this? Is it just people are selling off all their stuff? No, I think there's something else about Craigslist. I think Craigslist is actually part of the future, or one future of enterprise. See, I don't think that there are any consumers in Craigslist. IBM also doesn't think that there are any consumers in Craigslist. They're actually telling people to connect to customers and employees and other things, but they're not mentioning consumer in any of their stuff anymore. I think there's people in Craigslist. Now, just an aside on people, I told you I'm easily distracted. When I was looking at people, I was thinking, wow, we're all supposedly getting older. And that means there's a greying society, and there's all sorts of stuff about that, you know, that how greying society is bad. But then I noticed that people are staying fitter longer, and I also noticed that retirement makes no sense. I thought, well, there's going to be more grey people, but you know what? They're going to be more active. And then I thought, well, how long are you active for? So I had a look, and actually, if you're Japanese, you've got 710,000 hours on the planet, close enough. If you're average person in the world, you've got just over 500,000 hours, but you're not doing so well if you're in Swaziland. Greying is not a big problem in Swaziland yet. And that's something else I thought. People aren't terribly well distributed around this world in terms of wealth. So then I thought, well, what brings people together? What actually creates these wonderful innovations? What is it, the thing that fuels the entrepreneur? I thought, well, maybe it's trust. I thought, well, you know, trust is a hard thing to sort of get your hand on, you know, and so maybe it's community, and maybe you need trust and community, but then that didn't quite work for me either. And then I actually, you know, thought of my good friend Jimmy Wales, and I thought, wow, hang on a moment, Wikipedia, that's my best friend, and Jimmy Wales must be my best friend because I love Wikipedia. I've only met him once. But he says that we're more trustworthy than we care to give any sort of name to. I thought, wow, that's really interesting. So we've got lots of people, and we need them to be bold, and we need to be trustworthy, and that must be the future of enterprise. Excellent, excellent. But then I thought, well, actually, if everyone's trustworthy, and everyone's bold, and there's an abundance of knowledge that's all free, people are really getting more and more informed. And that must mean that there's this great tide of informed people coming into the world, making it more interesting, making it better. The technology is going to save us. It's all going to be great. And then I thought, well, actually, people are a bit like herding cats, because you've got all these informed people now, and you go, gee, how can I get them behind something? How can I actually coordinate them? How can they be coordinated to do anything useful? And then I read some interesting stuff, and I realized that anything you want to do, Craigslist is a great example, relies on the context in which you set. See, if you want to herd cats, tilt the floor. The floor is the context. It moves everyone in a certain direction, even these well-informed people. So I thought maybe the future of enterprise is all about context. Right, if we set the right context, we'll get it there. Excellent, excellent, I'm getting there now. And then I thought back to people. Well, people aren't really a context. I'll have to think about this more. And I went, actually, if I really think about people, there's a big problem with enterprise. There's 7 billion of us, and only 2 billion of us are engaged in enterprise of any fashion. Really, the kind of enterprise that we think about. That's not quite right, is it? And I thought, and a lot of those enterprises look like this. See, I think this might be the future of enterprise. A lot more of this. I thought, well, that's disturbing because there are a few things wrong with this. And then I thought back to entrepreneurialism. The way to save us is entrepreneurialism. Get back to the boldness. That must be it. That must be the thing. That must be the one thing, to get people to be entrepreneurial, to get them to start something, to get them to get together and work together, to use that super informed populace that we've become, that tidal force. And I thought, but if everyone has to work together, they also have to be good at relationships. Relationships is really tough. I mean, I'm really lucky. I got married 15 years ago. I'm still in love with my wife, and that's a miracle. Not that I'm still in love with her, but that she's still in love with me. And I thought, we can't have a miracle for everything. And then I went around and I looked at Nintendo. And why did I look at Nintendo? Because Nintendo claimed that they were going out of business, and they looked around the world for a solution, and they decided that the best thing that they could do was build a peer-based relationship with all of their customers. And in 2 years, they doubled their market share, having dropped from nearly dominance to nothing, and they've come back. In 2 years, just by saying, actually, we want a relationship with our customers, with our gamers. And not the kind of relationship which is, I'm going to tell you what our next product is after I've developed in secret for 10 years. The kind of relationship which says, come in, see what's going on here, and tell us what the hell to do, because we really don't know. I thought, what does that leverage off? Well, it leverages off abundance. See, we have an abundance of something in the world. See, when you look at sort of the disruption that the enterprise lives on, the one thing that we have in abundance is people. And the one thing that we have in abundance is people wanting to contribute. And I thought, wow, we all want to contribute. This must be it. This is the thing. This is the future of enterprise, getting everybody to want to contribute. And I thought, when people contribute, some contribute as doers, and I think we need more doers. And then other people contribute as talkers. And I suppose that includes me some of the time. And I think we need less of this, because I actually think we need more do. And then I thought, I wonder whether this is a global phenomena. And I found out that IBM very kindly worked it out for me. They said, yes, actually, if you are globally thinking, you're much better than if you're not globally thinking. So I thought, wow, this must be the future. Globally aware works, locally focused works. Let's go global. Let's take all that local awareness at Nintendo, and let's take all that global awareness, and we put it together, and we've got our solution, and this is the future of enterprise. Yes! And so I thought, okay, I'll make a bold prediction. Let's predict the future. I'm an optimist, so it's going to be a good future. And then I thought, what's the future going to look like if it's a good future? Well, it's going to be a happy future. People are happy when they contribute, so we should be contributing, they should be contributing. We want the opportunity for happiness everywhere. And I thought, I wonder if anybody's looked at happiness. And I found this thing called the Happy Planet Index. And I thought, wow, this is fantastic. Americans are not the top of the happy index. Yes! I love Americans. But in Europe, the Dutch are. And I thought, how's that possible? And then I thought, no, it must be something else. And then I thought, oh, I see. They work it out by how long you live and how many planets you consume. Ah, excellent. So that means that if we all lived like Americans, we would actually need 9.4 planets to sustain our lifestyle. Oh, that's not too good, is it? I thought, well, who could we manage? Who could we copy? Who would be the best country? Who would be the winner? And actually, there's a winner on the Happy Planet Index. And I thought, my goodness, there is a country out there that only uses 2 planets per person. Fantastic. Which country is it? Must be a great country. Costa Rica. Where? Costa Rica. I thought, okay, let's see what Costa Rica's about. And this is what Costa Rica tourism says. We're really bad at Photoshop. That's what they say. But then I thought, well, is Costa Rica the future of enterprise? Maybe. And then I thought, no. What else? There must be something else. So I looked up future of enterprise. I looked up, listening, which I think is very important. And I looked up, boldly going and entrepreneurship and all these other things that I've been touching on. And I came across thrivability, this whole movement about don't just survive, thrive, that we can be thrivals, that we can actually thrive in this new world without using up all the resources. And I thought, wow, that must be the future. This is really cool. And I looked at thrivability, and they have a really good how-to. It says start with trust. Fantastic, but not naive trust. Wikipedia lets everybody edit the articles, but you should see the software behind there that tells them when somebody's made an edit that's wrong. It's amazing. They are not naive about trusting people. They catch you if you vandalize it, and people do vandalize it, unfortunately. And then it said, find the commons. I went, huh? What the hell is the commons? I mean, is that where you graze sheep? I know what that was. So I went, okay, well, what's the commons? And I found this wonderful definition of the commons. It is the confluence, the place where gifts, something for free, can meet commerce. I thought, wow, so actually it's a free piece of land where you can actually profit from grazing your sheep for free. And Wikipedia is the commons. We all profit from Wikipedia. I don't care how people talk about accuracy of Wikipedia. If you'd gone back into the 90s and you'd said, okay, who am I going to bet on? Am I going to bet on Microsoft to make a new encyclopedia or this guy in a garage? Most people would have said Microsoft. Encarta went out of business very quickly because of Wikipedia. Wikipedia is a fantastic thing. It is the commons. I thought, okay, excellent. This must be a really good thing to have in thrivability. Build profits around the commons. And then I looked at a whole lot of companies that have become very popular in the commons, and they said, be vulnerable and open. Let people know that you're not actually all that good. Which I try to do all the time, but I don't have to because people know. Anyway, and I was thinking about, this means to be genuine. And actually, I was taking a lesson in self-defense from the guy who taught hand-to-hand combat to Nelson Mandela's bodyguards, right? And he said, by the way, as a bonus, would you all like to know how to be genuine and authentic? And we all leaned in, there's a bunch of entrepreneurs, we all leaned in, yes, what's the secret? And he goes, be genuine and authentic! And we go, oh my God, okay, we get it. And then, be a peer. Don't treat people, the future of enterprise actually has to be part of the people, not talking down to them. Be their buddy, be their friend, be their peer, and not a faux-authentic peer. Authentic, faux-authentic, right? Do not cozy up to them and say, I really want to be your best friend. By the way, will you buy this car? Because it doesn't work. You actually have to genuinely assist other people to get their loyalty. I thought, wow, this must be it. Thrivability must be the future of enterprise. And I thought, if thrivability is the future of enterprise, why don't I build a website that actually has the future of enterprise built in? That people can actually go and do good deeds and actually have their thrivability expressed. And that's actually working. And I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. But then I got back to happiness. And I realized that thrivability doesn't include happiness. And I thought, why don't we build a company happiness index to be a bit like the happiness index before? And I thought, wow, that's a good idea. Does anyone doing that? And I found this wonderful thing. If you want to be happy at work, you need to be contributing, and I love contribution. You need to be you need to have conviction. You need to have a culture. You need to have commitment and conviction again, funnily enough. And then all of these things are underpinned by sort of pride and trust, all the good stuff. And so, I thought, well, happy companies, if they're sustainable, could actually be happy ecosystems, and happiness could be the future of enterprise. So I built Corporate Happiness Index, which we're going to be filling out soon. And then I found this wonderful person who's in the audience, Jess Price-Jones, and she's actually worked out, done all the numbers. She's actually writing a book on this stuff. Happy companies, surprise, surprise, are super, super productive. Wow, fantastic. And I thought, well, then what? See, I still was bugged by, I think this is actually the future of enterprise, because there's billions of these. And I thought, well, maybe if happiness and thrivability are the things, maybe what we need is a happiness leapfrog. We need a way to take the majority of us and actually leapfrog over things like, this, and more importantly, this, to end up with sort of this. And maybe if enough of them ended up here, they'd actually save us instead of us having to think we should save them. And that's when I realized the real future of enterprise is actually not just not taking from the earth, as we heard recently, but giving back to it, and giving back to it en masse. So I've dedicated my life to a world that works for everyone. Please join me. We can give back to our precious planet that which it needs, rather than taking away. We can do it together. We need to do it now. The project that you saw in the video took 3 years. That gives us enough time to actually make a difference. And we can make money while doing it. We can create jobs. We don't have to kill ourselves. You don't have to live in a hut. But I have to say, compared to a cubicle, you might want to. Please join me. Thank you.